So can we please put our hands together for the beautiful Tam Tails? There you go, gorgeous. Picture this. It's 6 p.m. on a Tuesday evening, and I'm standing in my living room. I'm wielding the largest couch cushion that I can find, like it's a medieval shield, facing down my 5-year-old daughter, who's been in meltdown mode for 3 hours. 3 hours. I'm exhausted. I'm covered in bite marks and bruises, and I can hear myself say, "Okay, sweetie, run at me as hard as you can. Get it all out. Mama's got the cushion." This was our daily reality. Every day, after kindergarten pickup, like clockwork, the meltdowns would begin. And it was in this moment facing down my kindergartner that I realized that something drastically had to change. You see, at the time we were navigating an autism diagnosis, a process that felt like we were being gaslit at every turn. We had teachers that saw a well-behaved student in a classroom, and doctors and psychologists saw what looked like a neurotypical little girl who was actually masking brilliantly in their clinics. And time again, I was given a parenting pamphlet. But at home, I was spiraling. I had high anxiety that led into depression as I desperately tried to find ways to help my daughter. We tried taking her to therapy appointments. We tried every strategy, every intervention, and every expert recommendation. But nothing was working. Here's what I didn't know then, but I know now with certainty, is that it was never going to work. Not because of her, but because of me. You see, here's the truth of what they don't tell you in those parenting pamphlets, is you can't regulate a dysregulated child when you yourself are dysregulated. It's physiologically impossible. Children don't need perfect parents, and they certainly don't need parents who never struggle, but they need parents who are regulated. So, how do we regulate ourselves? That's what I want to talk to you about this evening. And this type of regulation comes with side benefits, not side effects. Side benefits like anti-aging, disease reversal, and better communication in relationships. What do you think it might be? Breathing, that's a good one. Can be. Have you heard of meditation? Now, I can see some of your eyes might be rolling from here. You'll be thinking, oh, here we go, meditation. Or I've tried that, it doesn't work for me. I can't calm my busy mind. And I've heard it before. As a Vedic meditation teacher, I tell my students that meditation doesn't require you to sit perfectly still or to focus on anything. It works with your busy mind, not against it. And all of my students almost immediately realize how quickly they can enter into that calm, blissful state every single day. Not long after having my first child, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's hypothyroidism. My hair fell out, I stacked on the weight, and my voice was as deep as Barry White's. I was constantly fatigued, super irritated, and freezing cold. So I went on all the recommended medication, and I eliminated the usual anti-inflammatory foods from my diet. And my doctor at the time told me that I should be feeling pretty good right now because my bloods and hormone levels were in range. But in actual fact, I still felt and looked like crap. So I fired that doctor, and I found myself a new kick-ass integrative one. And I looked for other ways to reduce the inflammation from my body. Enter Vedic meditation. So this was a practice that had been introduced to me many years prior, and it had saved my sanity in a pretty messy divorce. But over time, with busy life and now new mum life, my practice had fallen away. So I decided to pick it back up again. And over time, Vedic meditation became a game changer for me. Here's what happened when I started to still my mind and regulate my own nervous system. The inflammation in my body reduced. The cortisol levels and irritation lowered. I had more energy, and stress became more manageable. And to my surprise, my new doctor told me that the disease had gone into remission. But this is not just my experience. Integrative pharmacist Dr. Isabella Wentz, who wrote the Hashimoto's Protocol, had a health journey almost identical to my own. And in her healing and research, she discovered thousands of Hashimoto's patients. And what she found was at the core of the condition, stress was not manageable. She also found that stress was drastically reduced when meditation was introduced. But this is not the only side benefit of meditation. Last year, research was released from the Maharishi University, and they found that it reverses biological aging. They compared meditators with non-meditators. And what they found, that was lower inflammation and cortisol markers. So essentially, you can look less puffy and less old, and you can live life longer, better. They also found improved brain function, so better cognitive function. So you can walk into that room or open that fridge door and remember why you went there in the first place. Or you could possibly outwit your grandkids at 18. They also found higher stress resilience and emotional control. So you can be less reactive. You might be far less likely to bite your partner's head off. And in the circumstance of my daughter in the middle of her meltdown, I was able to create this beautiful pause where I could respond with calm and clarity instead of a triggered eruption. But I'm not just talking about feeling better. I'm talking about fundamentally changing what's happening in your body at a molecular level. See, when I was standing there opposite my daughter with a couch cushion, my body was flooded with cortisol and my sympathetic nervous system was in full charge. And my daughter, this beautiful, brilliant little human, she could feel all of it. She didn't feel safe because I wasn't feeling safe. And she didn't feel calm because I certainly wasn't feeling calm. Because the emotions can be contagious, whether you're sharing a sense of calm or you're upset. And this is the part I want to share with you the most about meditation because it's impacted my family and myself so much. When I continued with my practice, it created more calm and clarity and capacity in me, more motivation to move my body and to make more of an effort to heal me. And over time, things began to shift. My daughter started to regulate her own nervous system. Not because I was implementing the right strategy or saying the right thing, but because she could finally feel safe with me. Because my calm became her calm. But this doesn't just apply to parenting. When you show up regulated with your colleagues, with your family and friends, in business meetings or with demanding bosses, you can change the entire energy of the interaction. You can be the calm, steady presence that everybody else anchors to. You know, I still have that couch cushion, but I haven't had to use it as a shield in a really long time. Because I realized that the best way to help my daughter wasn't to defend myself against her dysregulation, but it was to heal my own. You cannot regulate a dysregulated child from a dysregulated state. So start with yourself. Heal yourself first. Not because you're selfish, but because it's the most generous thing that you can possibly do. The work begins within, and from there, it radiates out to everyone you love.